Blood group must be specified on the medical examination form and on the license. Passing driving tests. Theoretical test. It contains traffic rules, ethics, signs, signals, basic principles of operation and method of use of vehicle, and principles of first aid. Practical test. In the light of the result of the theoretical test and passing of the applicant, he will be sent directly to the practical test. This will be done over 2 stages. First stage, field test, inside training field. This will be done by conducting practical driving tests inside training field to know the ability of the applicant to execute the specified exercises. Second stage, street test. Applicant will be tested practically in the street, and by passing this test, he will be granted a full driving license. In street test, the ability of the applicant to perform the following will be identified. Start the engine. Move the vehicle forward and backward. Use the gear. Normal and sudden stops on slopes. Queuing the vehicle along the pavement, between other vehicles, on slopes, between specified marks and lines. Get out of the route to another route, turning right and left. Use the necessary signals at the appropriate time when change the movement situations. Commit with traffic signals, marks, lines, and the signals performed by the driver of the other vehicle and the range of attention, and respond to traffic instructions and orders, crossing the crossroads, squares, and roundabouts, turning the vehicle in a limited space of the road. Familiarity with using vehicle lights, side and internal mirrors. Fees payment. After passing the test, designated fees should be paid to obtain the license. Procedures for obtaining driving licenses. Qataris and GCC nationals. 2 recent personal photos size 4 cm by 6 cm. Copy of ID card, personal ID card. Medical examination form approved by the certified doctor. Residents and visitors. 2 recent personal photos size 4 cm by 6 cm. Copy of applicant passport and residence permit or personal ID card or visa if he is a visitor. Medical examination form approved by the certified doctor. No objection letter from the sponsor or signature and stamp of the sponsor on the form. Copy of company registration or copy of sponsor ID card for personal sponsorships. Handicaps. 2 recent personal photos size 4 cm by 6 cm. Copy of personal ID card for Qataris and GCC nationals and copy for personal ID card for residents or the residence stamped on the passport. Medical certificate specifying type of disability issued from the competent medical body determined by Traffic Department. For non-Qataris, no objection letter from the sponsor or signature and stamp of the sponsor on the form, and copy of company registration or copy of sponsor ID card for personal sponsorships. International driving licenses. International driving licenses are valid in the State of Qatar, held by the expats, tourists, visitors, and passers-by, issued in accordance with the Vienna Convention 1968, for a period of their validity without prejudice to the purpose of tourism visit or transit. Their holders are allowed to drive vehicles licensed by those licenses to be driven only. Renewal of the license while the license holder is in Qatar is not valid. Provisions of international, regional, and bilateral agreements are applicable to driving licenses that are subject to provisions of international, regional or bilateral agreements to which the state is a part of. It is allowed to residents of GCC of Gulf Arab states to drive in the State of Qatar with the driving licenses issued from the state of residence, provided that they are valid. Visitors and tourists. Traffic Department may allow visitors and tourists who hold non-Qatari driving licenses to drive vehicles according to the following conditions. To visit the Traffic Department within 15 days from the date of entry to the State of Qatar to approve the license. Non-violation of the purpose of the visit or tourism. The license is valid. Validity and renewal of driving licenses. Renewal of driving licenses. Driving license must be renewed no later than 30 days following its date of expiry. It is not allowed to drive the vehicle on the road without renewal of the driving license. Validity of driving licenses. Validity of the driving licenses of all kinds is 10 years for Qataris from date of issuance, and 5 years for non-Qataris, excluding public driving licenses, which is 1 year from the date of issuance, and temporary driving licenses, which is 3 months from the date of issuance. The renewal is for similar period after the payment of the designated fees. Driving guidelines and prohibitions. For an individual to be fit to drive a vehicle, he should be physically and medically fit. Therefore, he must avoid some harmful behaviors and always be ready to deal with different circumstances that may be encountered during driving, as follows. Physical fitness and vision power. Physical fitness and vision power are very important during driving. They are connected to each other. Even normal health problems that the man may encounter, such as cold or flu, or even headache, have an effect on senses unevenly from one person to another. Hence, these problems reduce the concentration and response to the situations during driving. If the driver feels at any time that he is not in a good health, he has to stop driving and let another person to drive. And if this is not possible, he will drive accompanied by another person with great concentration and attention and avoid dangerous places. Anger during driving. Many drivers may make mistakes on the road, and some persons will be angry when seeing actions of other drivers. This anger may lead to act violently, and the driver can avoid being a victim of anger and violation through the following. When observing any mistake made by others during driving, he has to remember that he may also make a mistake. Keep calm at a safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles. Drive cooperatively, considering other road users. Treat other drivers as you would like them to treat you. Confusion during driving is the inability of the driver to avoid hazards upon occurrence or involving himself in situations that subject him and others to danger. Main causes of confusion during driving are: inability of the driver to predict the danger resulting from certain actions of other users of the road in a proper way, lack of sufficient experience in certain situations in order to avoid the danger when it happens, failure to read or understand traffic signs in a good way, failure to read or understand road markings in a good way, failure to read emergency situations in a good way, lack of monitoring and collection of information from the road, lack of knowledge of traffic law with regards to dealing with the road and its users, lack of concentration and absence of mind, drowsiness during